Welcome to the booth. All right, Taylor, let's get right into it. So we're going to start off with Tennessee, Alabama game. That went exactly how I predicted. I went Tennessee. So Hendon Hooker, Mr. 25-year-old. Your thoughts. First, I want to get your thoughts on the Alabama-Tennessee game, and then I'm going to ask you a simple question. Should Tennessee be – I know they're not ranked number one right now, but should they be ranked number one? And then who would be their contender as far as – because obviously it's not Bama, although Bama fans want a rematch. So give me your thoughts on the – let me get your thoughts on the Tennessee-Alabama game.
What a game. I mean, that was one of the best games to watch. I'm not an Alabama or a Tennessee fan, but that was fun. Great football. I mean, down to the wire. You can't get much better than that. I mean, me personally, I thought Alabama was going to go ahead and kick that game-winning field goal because it's Alabama, and that's what Alabama does. They sneak through in these close games, and they always win it, but they didn't this time. I'd hate to be that kicker. I'm sure he didn't go to the campus for the rest of the week, because I'd be a little be looking over my shoulder. Somebody might be throwing stones or something at me, but what a game. I mean, Bryce Young, even though they lost, he looked phenomenal.
Bryce Young is legit.
Dude is insane.
I love C.J. Stroud, but Bryce Young is starting to tug at my heartstrings, and I trust Alabama quarterbacks as far as league play goes. And you look at Justin Fields. Justin Fields in college was amazing, and Ohio State. Yeah. So he's only 5'9", 5'10", pushing 5'10", depending on who you ask. His mom might say he's 6 foot. Yeah. Or his Tinder bio might say he's 6 foot, but he is looking like the best. Not arguably, some people would say C.J. Stroud, but he's doing a lot with little weapons. Because like a C.J. Stroud, who's got Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson, the whole slew of receiving cores over there. And that's no knock on C.J. because Ohio State, it's a powerhouse. You're supposed to have that. You can't knock a quarterback for having good receivers. But Bryce Young is doing it at a more efficient level with less than CJ is, in my opinion. And so, I like that Alabama-Tennessee game. As a Gator fan, I wanted them both to lose. But Tennessee took it to them, and I had a feeling you even said last podcast, it was like stop the passing attack or Hendon Hooker is going to go off, and that's exactly what he did. So,
yeah, even though he had one interception, he had 5 TDs and 385 yards. So,
it's Madden,
yeah, he made it for that one interception with 5 TDs. So, great game, loved it, every bit of it. I'm glad that Tennessee won. I feel like Tennessee fans have kind of had this just slew of bad luck year after year after year after year, and then finally it's all kind of coming together. They're getting the pieces that they need to be an elite school and actually compete for a potential title. So I loved every bit of it. And
did you see I don't know if you were going through the Twitter sphere, but there's a lot of Alabama fans saying that the game was rigged, that there needs to be a redo of a game. Imagine if Matt Ryan when he lost the Super Bowl after having 28-3 lead and goes, the game was rigged, we need a redo. What?
Yeah, I understand it. They're not used to losing. No. It's Alabama. They win. So when they lose, it's kind of a little bit of a stinger, and they try to come up with some way to either make it unfair, like, oh, they cheated, or we had the injuries, or whatever it is. They'll come up with something to say this is why we lost. In this case, they're saying that something happened in the game, and they should redo the whole game for another opportunity. My thing is, this is a 50-50 game. It's going to be Alabama or Tennessee, and it's literally, I don't know who's going to win if they play again.
Yeah.
It was that close of a game. And if they play a rematch, which isn't going to happen, I would still pick Tennessee, but it's really a coin flip of who's going to win that game. But I think Alabama fans definitely need to take a seat and just accept the loss, and like every other team, because there's always something that was missed during a game or something that was called that was incorrect in every single game.
Hold on.
Let them dogs bark, bro. We've all got dogs. Everybody that's listening and watching, you may hear some hounds howling. You may hear some huskies barking. You know, I got one right here behind me chewing on a bone. So we are animal friendly and pet friendly on this show.
Yeah. No, my apologies, listeners.
Listener. Accurate.
Oh.
Called us out on the show.
Oh, man. I don't even know what I was about to say, to be honest. Oh, yeah. So going on to your thing about calls. So Alabama fans, also on top of wanting to redo the game, were like, it's not fair. It's clear the refs are on Tennessee's side. Tennessee got all the calls. Alabama never gets calls. And everybody from SEC country was like, you've got to be smoking crack because Alabama always gets the calls their way. Or it'd be a random pass interference when they're losing and they get 50 yards down the field and it's like, oh, okay. Well, it's Alabama, so you know they're going to get one or two calls their way. Because
always, every game.
The NCAA can't have their precious gem of Alabama lose.
It's the Patriots with Tom Brady, bro.
Yeah, no, 100%. And
that's what they are.
And so I'm glad Alabama lost. Not happy that Tennessee won, obviously, but happy that Tennessee won because it was against Alabama. So I guess my question remains is should Tennessee be ranked number 1 in the AP poll? I think they're ranked number 2 or 3 right now. Should be ranked number 1, and if not, then who is that team that you would put ahead of them?
I do not think they should be number 1 yet. And the reason I say that is because they had to climb their way up. Ohio State's been in the top 3 since the beginning of the season. I don't think they've had a close game or a game where I really thought, they're looking a little shady. You know, they got to get some pieces working. So personally, I would say Ohio State deserves the number 1 spot. Maybe Tennessee at 2, but I'm comfortable with them at 3. I think it's an appropriate ranking. You beat Alabama. Alabama's a powerhouse. So I think where they're sitting right now is appropriate for them. But I would not be shocked or I wouldn't be against them being number 1. Like I wouldn't say, they don't deserve number 1 status. But, and plus they haven't played like a really tough schedule so far outside of, I think, Alabama and Florida was a close game for them. But outside of Alabama, they haven't had a really tough schedule. So I think where they're at is appropriate.
Yeah. And now, are we potentially being Notre Dame here and talking about the future college football championship game here? Tennessee versus Ohio State, 2 powerhouse offenses. Brew McCoy, Hendon Hooker, obviously everyone knows. And then you got, C.J. Stroud and the company. That's going to be a shootout. Is that? Do you think that's going to be the college football championship, or do you think Georgia, maybe Alabama, kind of sneaks in there somehow?
Man, it's always tough to predict these types of things, but I don't think Georgia's going to get back in this year. And I say that because they've had close games too many times for a defending champ and a team that's going to win it this year, in my opinion. So I would say Ohio State and Tennessee is a pretty good prediction to see in the college football championship. So, and in that case, I would probably lean towards Ohio State to win that one over Tennessee, but it would be an amazing game.
It'd definitely be a shootout. It'd definitely be an amazing game. I would agree there. With that being said, to continue talking about the Tennessee-Alabama game. After the game, everyone knows that the Tennessee fans stormed the field. They took the goalpost and threw it into the river. But there was an incident that occurred. Listeners, if you don't know, there is a whole videotape on Twitter. So if you don't have Twitter, probably on Facebook as well. Alabama's wide receiver, Burton, he punched a girl in the face after she stormed the field, and now he's facing legal, not allegations, but legal legality. I don't know how to word that, but repercussions. There you go. For his actions, obviously, definitely got caught on tape. What are your thoughts on that? Should he be kicked off the team, suspended? If so, if suspended, how long of a suspension do you recommend?
Definitely suspended at the minimum. I mean, you just can't go around doing that. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a student and, just a student or a student athlete. You cannot go around just, swinging on people, even if it's just one punch or whatever it is. I know this goes back to last week. We were talking about Adams and how he was frustrated, and we can kind of understand how the frustration takes over. But you got to find a way to compose yourself and act professionally, because one, you have people looking up to you. There's kids out there that watch these football games that are like, I want to be just like them. And then after the game, you punch a chick.
Yeah.
And what kind of example are you setting for kids who want to grow to beat you?
And to that point, for someone who's trying to make the NFL, to do that on national television, dude, like, if you were a potential, I don't think he's a potential first round pick, but like, say second or third round pick, like, you just lock yourself into being undrafted, to be honest, because what you're now known as is a woman beater, and no franchise wants to. Well, okay, it's the NFL. As long as you're not, betting on games, you're good. But no franchise is going to take that risk of that image because you're not proven yet. And I say the NFL because everyone knows the NFL, they kind of throw things under the rug that probably shouldn't be. You kick a woman, you're suspended for 1 year. You punch somebody, you're suspended for 6 games. Assault somebody.
Yeah, so the NFL is a lot different. So the NFL is a business. I mean, that is its sole purpose is to generate revenue and provide a product.
But college is like that now too, though, NIL. So
it is, yes. But the difference is you're here for an education. The added bonus of your education is you get to play a sport. Some people get their entire education paid for on scholarship, and others get NIL deals, and some make it to the NFL. But it's still the main purpose of this supposed to be is your education.
Yeah.
So the NFL should, I don't agree with them. I think they should kind of discipline people regardless of, if it's a business or not.
Yeah.
But the reason why they don't crack down as hard on stuff like this is because that's money lost.
Yeah. I mean,
if the Raiders were like, hey, Adams, you're suspended for 3 games for your actions. If I'm a Raiders fan, I'm not going to go watch the Raiders without Adams. They already suck with him. Why would I want to go watch them suck even more without him?
Yeah,
and plus I think Waller's out anyways too. So then you have no Adams, no Waller. Yeah. Then you just have Derek Carr throwing out there to Renfro and Josh Jacobs running the ball and getting like 2 yards. So I'm good. So that's why the NFL does it. I think they should, both college and the NFL should sit there and say, all right, you did wrong. It's on tape. We all know what you did. You're suspended for X amount, or you're off the team. Because if I'm at work,
he gets away with the charges, I mean, he's still facing jail time.
So if I'm at work and I have a terrible day at work, and I'm in the parking lot still on company property, and some lady like bumps into me because she just had a great day, she just got the big project, she got a bonus and a raise, whatever. She bumps into me. I can't just hit her with one real quick. I'm in jail. I lost my job. I don't get a, hey,
the
stay
kids
at
are
home
crying
for 2 weeks. I can't do that. So these players and everything, they shouldn't be able to do that either.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. But some people may disagree.
No, I agree. I think if the law doesn't get them and put them in jail for, probably a year or so, whatever, I don't know the legality as far as how long that would be. But if they don't do it, I think either the remaining of the season or, there's not much left in the season, probably, I think 6 or 7 games. So, I don't know. That to me, it has to be the remainder of the season. You can't just punch a woman live on television, and because at that point, as for Nick Saban, if he just goes, okay, we'll suspend you for a game, then, and especially if the NCAA doesn't do anything, and he's like, all right, we'll let the coach take care of it because Nick Saban. All right, suspended for a game. That kind of looks bad on the program. Like, okay, they're okay with people just punching women because they're frustrated with the loss. So to me, it would have to be at least a season lost as far as football goes. But I get your point as far as, he's there for an education and everything. But, he might have thrown it away because he might be facing jail time. So you can't do it. So
I will give Saban the credit that is due, because there's been a couple of instances throughout his coaching career with Alabama where a player has either broken the law or broke the team rules or something of that sort. And Saban always takes action. He always speaks up at conferences or press conferences and to his team directly and lets them know that, hey, I don't care who you think you are, you can't do these types of things.
Yeah.
We have a certain standard at Alabama where, you're to be respectful, you're to be professional, you're to make the grade whatever standard it is that they have to have. I think it's like a 2.5 GPA or something, but he has those standards, and it doesn't matter who it is. He will cut you, he will suspend you, he will take action because he's morally right in that aspect. I don't know if he's a moral man overall, but in that aspect, he is. Just like the Henry Ruggs stuff, when that happened, he came out and spoke to all of his players and said, look, you don't do this. He was like, this young man just threw his entire career away for something stupid. Don't follow in those footsteps. So I will give him the credit there.
No, I agree there. It is a very unfortunate mishappening overall, but it is. I don't want to say it is what it is, but I think it will be dealt with, like you said, accordingly. Ahead. So everyone knows Brian Kelly, the man up north.
Unfortunately,
comes down south. Fake Cajun accent, whatever you want to call him.
Anyhow.
LSU's head coach, kind of looks like the guy from A Waterboy. He has a podcast because coaches have to have a podcast when they're not doing football. And on his podcast, he said that instant replay is ruining the game, and says 10 out of 10 times the call usually stands unless it's LSU because the guys don't like the man from up north. Then he cites the fumble that AR had against LSU this past week from Harold Perkins, that it was a royal fumble, and then it got overturned because the ref said, looking at it millisecond, AR's hand was going forward, so therefore it was an incomplete pass, and it was overturned. So I want to point out, that already negates your fact that you said 10 out of 10 times it stands, because it got overturned. But so I guess my question is instant replay ruining the game, or at least the flow of the game? Do you agree with Brian Kelly to a point or to an extent?
I will say the flow of the game is impacted by instant replay, but I will not say that it's ruining the game, because there's an aspect of football that is of human nature to make errors and mistakes, and having instant replay can adjust that and mitigate the mistakes that refs make on the field, because it's real time. You can't see everything wherever you're at. And then each ref sees what happened at a different angle. So they may have saw it as this, and this guy over here saw it as that. So then they have to go back, watch the instant replay, see what exactly happened. So I don't think that it's ruining the game at all. It's there as a buffer to ensure that calls are called correctly. And just because calls may not have gone in your favor over your career does not mean that it's a useless tool and should be deleted out of the game. Maybe just coach better. Maybe.
I mean, they won.
So
they
you don't
win,
have to go. Yeah.
But
maybe coach better, so throughout your career you don't have to deal with instant replays. I don't know. Fix stuff on your own end. So
I mean, as a Gators fan, his hand was definitely going forward. The moment it happened, I was like, all right, that's going to be overturned. But, I mean, I get to his point because he does extend in his podcast where it's like, okay, he agrees with instant replays for all scoring and turnover plays. And then giving each coach one challenge flag, but to do it almost every other play. I get that. I do get that because it does mess up the flow of the game. But on important plays like that, to where because that play technically, if Florida's defense would have stuck around and actually played defense that day, was making Florida point towards the W because Anthony Richardson ripped off like a 81-yard touchdown, and he started playing lights out and stuff like that. After that was overturned by it, but it's just it does mess with the flow of the game because I understand where you're trying to go up tempo, especially with a lot of these college offenses and stuff like that. But it's important because you'll see certain games to where like, did you lose the game because of a bad call from the refs or a bad bad call in the field? And then as a coach, you're like, we were winning this game. All of a sudden, just a random bad call completely shifted momentum and we lost the game. They look at it and they fix the issue, and you no longer lose because of that instance. So, and a lot of people, I know you, me, I think a lot of sports fans are annoyed when they're watching their football team and they're like, oh, that's a bad call. And then the refs go, okay, we'll look at, they don't hear us, obviously. Yeah. Hey, Taylor said that was a bad call on Oklahoma. So let's look at that. But you know what I mean? Like, they go look at it and they overturn it. Okay, you know what? We did make a mistake. Let's change it. And then, Oklahoma puts up 3 points finally. So it's all love, man. I'm sorry. You'll turn it around with Jackson Arnold. Man's the truth. On side note.
I thought there was some shade coming in.
Side note, I think that Jackson Arnold will probably be, if not Arch Manning. I know everyone says Nico, who's going to Tennessee, or Malachi, who's going to USC. But I honestly think Jackson Arnold, that's going to Oklahoma, he is such a phenomenal athlete. Just watching.
Yeah, he's a stud.
He is fast. He's a pure thrower of the football. But that's a side note. Oklahoma got a good one. But look, I rambled. I didn't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, he's good. Oklahoma's going to be in good hands with him.
Good hands.
Let's move on to the next one. Actually, I got one more thing. Everybody hates something, such as the instant replay, until they need it to go in their favor.
There you go. Until you
eventually,
need it.
Yeah, eventually he'll be like, "Oh man, I'm glad we have instant replay because that saved us there." But until then, he's gonna hate it, but that's how it goes.
All right, so moving on. I don't know if college football on Thursdays kind of no one really watches it, especially when it's Georgia Tech versus Virginia, and there's going on at the exact same time as Thursday night football.
Didn't even know that game was on.
Yeah, I didn't either until Twitter. But Twitter brought to my attention. So UVA won, Virginia won 16-9. But Georgia Tech quarterback Zach Gibson had 3 seconds to throw the ball. And we'll throw it here for the viewers if you're watching on YouTube.
This will be the final play of the game.
He's got 3 seconds. It's the last play of the game. Just throw it up. Who cares if you throw an interception? You got to try to win. And he just runs out of bounds.
And he's just going to
ends the game. And your coach has got to be like, "What are you doing? Just throw it." And that the thing is, Taylor, that's not even the wildest thing. That is probably the wildest thing that happened in the game. But Virginia also had a wild play. It was just kind of bad. I mean, it's 2 bad football teams. Georgia Tech, Virginia. Virginia, the kick returner. Can't throw it up for the viewers. He took a knee at the 3-yard line instead of waving fair catch. I think if you're they're down at the 3-yard line for his offense. So, oh man, for being 2 really smart schools, those were 2 of the biggest, dumbest plays I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was. I mean, watching it, I think it was more of a. I honestly don't know what would cause somebody to run out of bounds as the game's about you're down. This is the last play of the game. Any other sane quarterback that has ever played the game of football from Pee Wee to high school to college to the NFL is going to launch that thing downfield and hope one of your players catches it. If it's an interception, oh well, the game's over. Yeah, that's your shot. But to run out of bounds to what I can only imagine is maybe he thought there was some more time on the clock, maybe.
But as a quarterback, you got there's 3 seconds left.
and there should be a play clock right in front of him in the end zone. He should have been able to be like, oh, that's 0, not a 8 or something. I don't know. But the only reason you should ever run out of bounds like that is if you're trying to stop the clock. And in this situation, it made 0 sense. So I have no idea what was going through his mind. And kneeling at the 3-yard line, I've never seen that happen in my entire life. Makes 0 sense.
Oh, man. He's like, I want my offense to work for this touchdown.
There's just something about Thursday night football, whether it's college or the NFL, except for this past NFL game was actually a decent game to watch. But on average, something about Thursday nights, it's just not good for football.
Yeah, no, it's not. Definitely something. So with that being said, we just talked about Georgia Tech. Dan Mullen, former Florida coach, Mississippi State coach, was seen in the Atlanta airport down there in Georgia, and Georgia Tech has a opening head coaching job. Do you think? There's a couple of jobs out there, Nebraska and stuff like that. Do you think he takes this Georgia Tech job if that's what he's in Georgia for? Do you think he'll be a good fit?
I mean, can't get much worse than they already are.
Yeah.
I think he'll be a good fit. He's played, or not played, but he's coached Florida, so he has some experience under his belt as far as a top program, so he can bring some of that knowledge in. And I know you don't like Dan Mullen. I don't think anybody really.
I think
likes Dan Mullen.
I think he's a great offensive mind, but he's a horrible recruiter. And so I think that if he goes to Georgia
he's
Tech,
lazy. He's extremely lazy.
Yeah, he's lazy when it comes to the recruiting. But I think a benefit of him going to say he's only ever coached in the SEC. So if he leaves to go to Georgia Tech, he's not competing with SEC coaches to get these 4 or 5-star players because, let's be honest, 4 or 5-star players aren't going, hey, I'm going to Georgia Tech. But when it comes to recruiting, it's going to be a little easier for him. And honestly, he's an offensive-minded genius. So to turn Georgia Tech's offense and team around, he could do that. Because they don't play top talent. So I think if he takes the Georgia Tech job, I think he'll be one of the better coaches in their division. And he could turn the program around at Georgia Tech. I mean, there's not much you can do, especially because I think Georgia Tech requires a higher GPA for scholarship athletes to attend, kind of like Stanford and stuff like that, due to it being a very prestigious in school, athletic-wise or academic-wise. But I think that he's not competing with Kirby Smart. He's not competing with Nick Saban and Brian Kelly now for recruits. It's gonna be a little easier on him. I think it's a good fit. I don't think he's gonna like Nebraska, but
no, I mean, out of the openings that are out there right now, I think it would be the best fit. Just like you said, there's not much effort that needs to go into the recruiting, because of who they play and what their schedule looks like. Like you said, he's a good offensive coach, so he's going to be able to change what they have going on. Hopefully they work on
everything.
Their quarterback situation. But yeah, I'll agree with you. I don't like him though.
No,
after everything I heard about him that came out once he left Florida, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, he's very pretentious, and then the fact that he just legit just quit on his team. But when it comes to recruiting the lower end guys, like there you can get some 4 stars to Georgia Tech. But when you're going to the house and going, hey, I coached Tim Tebow and won a championship with Florida, and I coached in the SEC, it's going to attract more slightly bigger name recruits than Georgia Tech's used to getting in the past. So I think it'd be
they're gonna have to go deep into that pocketbook though.
No, 100%. He's not gonna sit there and come from chump change.
Nope.
With that being said, I mean, man, I think for college that's it. Let's go into these game predictions, man.
Let's run it.
Let's get it. All right, I'm pulling it up now. There's actually a game on tonight. Look at that. Temple versus Tulsa. Temple's up 10-0, and UAB versus Western Kentucky. UAB's up. All right. Shout out to those programs. All right, we got Iowa versus Ohio State next, or first.
Ohio State.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Not much to say on that one.
Yeah, and then we got the big UT Martins, who are 4-2, going against number 3 Tennessee.
Not much to say on that one either. Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going Tennessee there. We have Syracuse versus Clemson. Syracuse is 6-0. Clemson's 7-0. Will this be the upset to finally get Clemson? we don't like Clemson. Will this be the upset to get Clemson way out of here?
This is going to be my upset game. I'm pulling for Syracuse on this one.
Definitely.
Somebody has to show that Clemson is not the school everybody's saying they are.
Yeah.
Somebody.
I'm going
Why
Syracuse.
not Syracuse?
I'm going the Syracuse orange, man.
There we go.
They are the proper orange.
Yep.
All right. They got a really good defense over there at Syracuse. So hopefully they pull it out for us. Again, sorry guys if you're listeners and you're Clemson fans. We try to be unbiased, but Clemson this year is I don't buy it. We got 21 Cincinnati versus SMU.
Cincinnati.
And then we got number 7 Ole Miss versus LSU.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Ole Miss hasn't really played anyone, and LSU has been on the up. I think I'm gonna go LSU. So I don't know if you want to split there, but I like Ole Miss. Huge believer in Zach Evans, and Jackson Dart he's an adequate quarterback. So, I like Ole Miss, but LSU past couple weeks have kind of turned it on the offensive side of the ball. So
they lost. They're one of 2 of their games in the past 2 weeks.
They're 5-2. Listen, if you're good enough to beat my Gators, well then you're probably every team right now. But yeah. So I'm gonna go with LSU just as my upset, man. That's gonna have to. This is gonna be a really good game. UCLA number 9 versus number 10 Oregon 5-1. Bo Nix is playing lights out.
I'm going UCLA. That team is nasty. Yeah. I'm going UCLA. I know Bo Nix is playing some good football right now, which I hate to say because I thought he was a trash can. But UCLA, they're a good team. I'm going UCLA.
Yeah, I would have to agree, man. I don't see Oregon's good. I'm gonna have to go UCLA. I think Chip Kelly. When I look at UCLA now, it reminds me of the Oregon of old when Chip Kelly was there at Oregon. The offense is super dynamic. It's fast-tempoed. It's perfect, obviously not for the NFL, rip his Eagles career. In my couple of seasons I had with him and LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson. And side note. But anyways, he is a great college coach, and anyone who ever doubts Chip Kelly was just his first couple of years at UCLA, they struggled, but he didn't have his guys yet. Now that he has his guys, I mean, DTR at quarterback is absolutely lighting it up. So I think I'm going UCLA. I don't want to doubt Chip Kelly in college. He's won a couple titles. So, but shout out to Bo Nix. You're proving us wrong. We both had you in the gutter. Then we got number 20 Texas versus number 11 Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State just took an L to TCU. So,
yeah, I'm going Texas, and I'm indifferent on this one. They're both good teams. They both have a really good offense, but I think Texas is going to take it because Bijan Robinson is just unstoppable. I mean, you're not putting anything together to stop him. Sorry, the dog is freaking out over here. So I'm going Texas. I think the power of the mullet also is going to help them win.
Quinn Ewers, he is a monster.
Ewers, that mullet just blows in the wind perfectly. So I'm going Texas on that one.
Majestic. I like Oklahoma State. I'm going to go. I think Oklahoma State's defense is pretty solid. Although they did just give up a bunch of points to TCU. I think I'm going to go Texas too. I'm going to agree with you, Bijan Robinson, and I'm a huge believer in Xavier Worthy at wide receiver. Absolutely. I know when he can't come out this upcoming year, but the following year he's going to be a first-round draft pick. I think that team is littered. That Texas team is littered with talent. And so I'm going to go Texas as well. But just a little side note on Bijan Robinson. He's supposed to go late first, early second. The Eagles hold the 31st pick in the draft right now currently and the 4th. So we could get Will Anderson and then in the last pick of the first round pick up Bijan Robinson and talk about a first round. That's all I'm saying. Speak it into existence. Then we go to Boston College and Wake Forest. Wake Forest number 13, 5-1.
I'm gonna go Wake Forest. I think Boston College is like 1-5 or something.
2-4.
Well, there you
go. Give them that extra win. Yeah, I'm going Wake Forest as well. And then we have, so congratulations to Tulane. This is a year for many first. Tulane's first time ever being ranked. A couple weeks ago, Kansas is not Kansas' first time, Kansas' first time in a while. And then JMU's first time, although no longer ranked because the first time they got ranked, they lost to Georgia Southern. But congratulations, Tulane. First time you're ranked in program history, number 25. You're 6-1 going against Memphis. Who you got? You there? I think he's either lost in concentration, guys, or he froze. I'll give my prediction. I think I'm going to go with Tulane here. Shad Clayton, the running back, is a monster at running back for the Tulane Green Waves. And
there we go.
Oh, here?
Yep.
All right, you're still
froze for a second, but we're good.
Your screen's still frozen, unless you're still in deep concentration. There you go.
Nope,
okay.
I am not in deep concentration.
All right, so I was telling them I'm going with when we waited for it to unfreeze that I'm going with Tulane. I think Ashad Clayton. We talked about him. Actually, one of our most popular posts on Twitter when he transferred over from Colorado. He's been playing lights out for the Green Waves, and I think I'm going to go with Tulane here.
I've got Tulane as well. I think they've been playing really good ball. The only game I watched of theirs so far was against ECU. And ECU is not a bad team, but no. Tulane just ran circles around them.
Yeah. All right, then we got the big Alabama, just fresh off of their first L of the season to Tennessee against Mississippi State.
I don't think Alabama will go back-to-back losses. I've got Alabama.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think Nick Saban rights that ship. I think I'm going Alabama as well. Then we got Penn State versus Minnesota.
Penn State.
All right. I have to agree. I think Penn State is a pretty good team. They're fresh off an L as well. I don't think they go back-to-back. Then we got our last game is Kansas State versus TCU.
Back at this old...
We called them pretenders.
We did.
You've played both. You've played Kansas State and TCU.
Yeah, Kansas State looked terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go TCU. They've proved us both wrong. So I think they deserve to get our vote. Not that it means much to them.
Yeah.
Not that they'll even ever hear this, but I'm going to go TCU. I think they got it.
Yeah. He froze again. I'm going to go TCU as well. And while we wait for him to come back and unfreeze for us, to the listeners sitting there on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or maybe you're listening to on YouTube, make sure you follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification on YouTube to be notified when we're live or a new episode is out. This week, I'm getting ready to upload after this episode 2 and 3 because I wasn't able to upload episode 2 last week because I didn't realize you had to pay, to upload podcast or RSS feed each month for unlimited. So we got our first episode free, Congratulations.
Ridiculous.
But we'll get that situated. So 2 for the price of 1 today or tonight. With that being said, Thursday night football. Let's get into it. The NFL. I don't know what you guys thoughts and opinions.
My first thought is Dalton sucks. That man is hot garbage. That man has always been. I'm not going to say he's always been hot garbage.
He played pretty good with the Bengals for a couple years.
But that man is a absolute con artist. The fact that he's still in the league. Throw Jameson because this man ain't it.
Well, Jameis, to be fair, Andy's only playing because Jameis has been hurt. So.
Yeah, I don't care. Throw Jameson with a crutch. I don't care.
Okay, someone get Mike McDaniels on the medical staff here.
Yeah. because Dalton ain't it, man. That was a terrible display by him.
Horrible.
The Cardinals look fantastic. I mean,
they're playing the Saints now. Right?
I'm just saying. Look, I'm
brakes.
just saying. It is the NFL. Good teams can look bad against bad teams. That's the NFL. But they looked really good against the Saints. I mean, their defense was on point, and then their offense was on point. They finally have D-Hop back, which was nice to see. He put up,
D-Hop.
I think, 100-plus yards.
Yeah, 100-plus yards.
So he played really well. The only negative thing I have to say outside of Andy Dalton being a walking trash can is Kyler Murray needs to be put in check. You cannot be a NFL starting quarterback and talking to your coach the way that he was last
They
night.
did talk about it and said they like it. It got. They said they got blown up more than it should have. But I agree on live television, you can't be telling them basically.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what it was, all that did was make him look weak for letting his quarterback talk to him like that. You know, if I'm a head coach and I have a player talking to me like that, I'm pulling a interim coach at the Panthers and trading you the next day.
Yeah,
you know, like Robbie Anderson, you know, he got into the face of his wide receiver coach, and then the head coach was like, no, we're not having that here. And then, you know, he was shipped off to the Cardinals next day.
There are talks that this might be the last year Cliff Kingsbury's there.
I think that would be reasonable because he's had insane talent, especially for the last 2 years minimum, and he's been unable to do anything with it. You know, for the most part, the offense looks stagnant half of the year, and then their defense is mediocre half the year. I think that he's been given a really good opportunity, and he's just yet to do anything. Yeah. So I don't think anybody would disagree that this should be his last season.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give flowers to Chris Olave, the rookie, had 106 yards. And then the running back, Eno Benjamin, had 113 yards as well. They had a, you know, nice day on both sides of the ball there, and then obviously D-Hop came back. I don't know, did you see the Kyler Murray, D-Hop kind of talked on the sideline, and D-Hop was like, hey, man, like, you know, I'm open like every time. I don't know if you remember that. And all of a sudden after that, it was just click, click, click.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, D-Hop was on the bench, and he was like, my man, like, I am open. If there could be somebody on me, and I am still open, okay? I am DeAndre Hopkins. You should know what I can do. Throw me the ball. So, I mean, it's D-Hop. Throw him the ball. I agree with that. You know, don't waste the talent that's out there on the field for you. You know, use it to your benefit.
So Colin Cowherd, just kind of like one of the last things I want to touch up on the game, or the players, I guess. Colin Cowherd today on his show said, "Russ for Kyler. Kyler doesn't trust Cliff Kingsbury or the owner of the Cardinals, and Russ, you know." Russ is kind of an older Kyler. Their Broncos are looking to get younger and find someone to build around because they're obviously not championship contenders right now. And the Cardinals have all the pieces outside of, you know, they still have a quarterback. Kyler's a decent quarterback. But as far as would that be a happy marriage for either side and should that be done? I mean, I don't think they're going to trade him, but, you know, just kind of give me your thoughts on kind of that situation.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry. I just had a text message come through.
I was saying, give me your thoughts on that situation of if or should the Cardinals and the Broncos, before the trade deadline, maybe think about swapping quarterbacks.
No.
Okay.
The Cardinals would lose. That would be instant. That would enter them into an instant rebuilding phase, in my opinion. I think the Broncos were hoping that they were getting like a Peyton Manning type of situation again, which unfortunately for them did not turn out to
Can only beat the drum so many times.
My goodness. Run around like a wide receiver trying to get open.
See him back there, man.
No, I think that would be a ludicrous trade for the Cardinals to make. I think Kyler is their franchise quarterback for at least the next 5 years. He's very talented, very mobile. He just needs to get his attitude in check because he is a very whiny and
Call of Duty's
angry
coming out.
player.
Call of
Yeah,
Duty's
that's true.
coming out.
So the next couple of weeks are not going to look good for the Cardinals. No, but I don't think that'll. I don't think that should happen, will happen, or anything like that.
No, I agree there. I think that because to me with Russell Wilson, we talked about it. How do you go from being a Pro Bowl quarterback to not being able to read a standard defense? I mean, this is like high school level top quarterback stuff that he's just not doing correctly.
Hold on 1 second.
I got you.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
I read your lips, Winter stop, and then
No, my dad was calling up here.
Oh, I just see Winter jump on the bed and jump down. I thought you were yelling at him.
Yeah, she's got the zoomies right now. She is a ball of energy at this moment.
Yeah, she's a husky, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to let her out after this because she is running wild.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think that I think the Cardinals are in a good spot, and I get where Coward's coming from. You're kind of trying to make all parties happy here, but as a franchise, it'd be a dumb move in my opinion. With that being said, there is some big news. Trade deadline is coming up. Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. That's what everyone's talking about right now. Does this make the 49ers a Super Bowl contender? And then who won that trade? You know, I think what the Panthers get for the trade? Let me see. They
got a couple of draft picks.
Yeah, they got like this year's second round, next year's second round, third round, or they got their second, third, and fourth round this year, and their fifth round next year for Christian McCaffrey.
I will say that the I do not believe that the 49ers are now Super Bowl contenders because their biggest issue is at quarterback. Jimmy G is a good stand-in for now, but he is not an elite quarterback that's going to be able to take that team.
He has brought the 49ers, and I forgot about this. My dad actually brought this to my team. He did bring the 49ers a couple years ago to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And he does have a winning record in the league. So he's serviceable. And I think if you put Christian McCaffrey around him, you got Deebo Samuel, you've got George Kittle, in their backup running back now is Elijah Mitchell.
So, see, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. Russell Wilson was a Super Bowl winning quarterback and a quarterback that took his team to the Super Bowl. And now he can't read a defense. Right? Matthew Stafford took the Rams to the Super Bowl last year and won the Super Bowl. This year he sucks. And that's just a fact. Okay? He sucks. I mean, outside of being a Rams fan, I think everybody can agree that Matthew Stafford is having a terrible season. Jimmy G is, at this stage in his career, I would say a mediocre quarterback. And I think all 49ers fans, especially the ones that I've been talking to off and on this past couple of weeks, can agree that he is not the guy. Is he a player that can take a team to a Super Bowl? Potentially, but not this team. And who won the trade? The Panthers won that trade. Christian McCaffrey is a injury-prone running back who is most likely exiting the prime of his career, and the Panthers have sneakily entered into a rebuilding phase throughout this season. Most teams do it in the off seison, but the Panthers have entered a rebuilding. Yeah, they entered a rebuilding phase mid-season, and they got I think, what was it, 3 picks?
Yeah, I think 4 picks. They got the second, third, fourth this year, and then the second, I think, next year.
Yeah, so they snuck away with some additional picks for this offseason to assist with the rebuilding. I would say they definitely won. The 49ers, I don't see Christian McCaffrey really producing what they want for the long haul.
Listen,
will he have
McCaffrey, though,
I'll say he'll have a couple
offenses. That's dangerous. If he can stay healthy. I mean, it's still Christian McCaffrey. I don't want to downplay
the thing.
him. If he can stay healthy.
That's my only issue is when he's healthy, Christian McCaffrey is one of the best running backs out there, and that you cannot deny that. Yeah. That is an absolute fact. The issue is the man cannot stay healthy at all. You know, as soon as he entered the league, it was just every single season it's injured. You know, it's as a running back who takes hits all the time, that's a big issue. I mean, that happened with Todd Gurley. I mean, he was injured and then it was just a downward spiral. Yeah. And then today he officially, for the second time, I don't know why he came out again, but for the second time, he officially retired. You know, it takes a toll on the running back. They are I think, what is it, like an average running backs in the league for like 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, it's I think it's 4 to 5, but they have a very short shelf life compared to like receivers and quarterbacks, linemen, etc.
So we're there. You know, we are already there with Christian McCaffrey, and with his injuries and everything, I mean, I don't know. I think it was a big gamble for the 49ers. I hope it pays off for them, you know, as a football fan, because they do have a good team outside of their quarterback, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would, I mean, they got a all-pro left tackle in Trent Williams. They have, again, Brandon Ayuk and
they've got Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa, George Kittle, CMC now. They have a squad, and I mean, there's some people saying that they have a better, and on paper they do, a better offensive Swiss Army knife personnel, I guess, than the Eagles right now. Everyone's comparing themselves to the Eagles because A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, and Dallas Goedert. And you would say Kittle's better than Goddard. You know, Devo's better than Debo better than A.J. Brown? That's more up for debate. Can he do more than A.J. Brown? Yes, because, I mean, Debo can be a star running back, and Christian McCaffrey can be a star slot receiver. So, you know, definitely a dynamic offense, but I do agree. I think Jimmy G, I don't know. I don't believe in Jimmy G all too much anymore. If you're asking earlier in his career, then yes. But he's getting to the tail end of his career as far as where his talent, he's kind of hit that ceiling, that plateau. And I think no matter how much talent you surround him with, then he's going to be the one holding the team back. But if he can play game manager, who knows? They might sneak into the playoffs, in my opinion. So I personally think that the 49ers win the trade if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy.
Yes, if he stays healthy, I'll agree.
All right. So we move on to the trade deadline's coming up. Elijah Moore requested a trade. Everybody knows that. They already said they're not trading him. But come both their names on the bill are Mike Gesicki, Brian Burns, Kadarius Toney, DJ Moore, and Chase Claypool. Any of those names stand out to you? And if so, which player and which team do you think they go to?
So the only one that stands out for me personally, and I think you might agree with this one, is Kadarius Toney. The dude, he is raw talent, insane speed, insane agility. I mean, the dude is wildly talented and naturally gifted, and his football IQ is extremely high for somebody who just recently started playing the game of football. I would love to see him go somewhere else because the Giants just, for some reason, don't use him, and when they do use him, they don't know how to use him.
Yeah.
So I would love to see him exit the Giants organization and go somewhere else. As far as where to go, I don't know, maybe the Rams. I don't know. You know, that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he would go, honestly. I'm not sure where he could really fit in. Maybe he could go to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs would absolutely utilize him appropriately.
Yeah.
Green Bay would be a good fit because, I mean, Aaron Rodgers needs somebody out there. Yeah. The only other one would probably be Chase Claypool. I don't really think he's like a superstar. I think he's
top 3
mediocre. Apparently. He's not even top 3 in his team, but in my personal opinion, I would say I don't know where he would go, but I think his time with the Steelers is definitely over.
Yeah.
Or at least coming to an end. But I don't know where he would go. As far as Burns, Moore, and Gesicki. I really don't know where I could see them going. DJ Moore, I don't know. Those four, I really don't know where I could see them going or what their future is going to hold.
I got you. I think that Chase Claypool goes to Green Bay. I'm just going to throw these, do a quick rundown. I think Kadarius Toney needs to go to a team that doesn't have turf. It doesn't matter what team he's going to excel at as long as it doesn't have turf because his hamstrings can't take the turf. And, that's why he's always injured because turf is horrible on athletes. I think Brian Burns potentially gets snuck to the Eagles for our late first-round pick. I think Mike Gesicki goes to a tight end needy team. I can't name that off the top of my head. Whatever. And then I think DJ Moore either goes to I'd like to say either the Rams or the Ravens. I think the Ravens need a wide receiver one. And I could also see DJ Moore going to the Colts to pair up with Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce. That's where I would put those guys. With that being said, we'll move on. We'll see. We'll be monitoring. His trade deadline's coming up, so you'll see everyone just monitor Twitter. It's going to blow up. Adam Schefter and all them we're gonna find out soon enough. With that being said, I like to play a little game called The Price is Right, Taylor. I kind of explained it to you. Guys, I'm explaining to you. $1. We're going to spin a wheel for the team. We just get two teams. I'll say the team. I'll say Taylor. This is your team. Then I'll spend a dollar amount, $1, $50, or $100. $100 means if it lands on $100 and say it's the Eagles, and that means you think they're a Super Bowl contender, you're buying that. Now, if it says the Eagles and $1, and which means $1 means they're dog crap and complete rebuild mode, not contenders, they're just trash. You would say I'm selling them at $1 because they're worth more.
Yeah.
To kind of get that away. So, with that being said, let me pull the wheel up. The NFL teams. Taylor, your first team will be. All right, the Commanders. And then let's see how much if you're going to buy or sell them. All right, we're sitting there at the Commanders at $1.
I would buy them at $1.
All right, there you go. they're not that good, so I think I would sit at $1 there too.
Yeah.
All right.
What a terrible first team.
And I got the Saints.
Pretty much mirroring each other there.
The Saints for 50. Do I feel neutral on the Saints, where I think they're a decent enough team to go to the playoffs and they're in a slight rebuild, but not too dramatic? No, I am selling the Saints at 50. I think that they are in a very horrible spot right now. I'm glad as an Eagles fan because we hold their first pick, so right now we're at pick number 4. I'm selling them at $50. They're not a neutral team that's on the up and coming at all.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor, this next team of yours is going to be, and your last team to tell me if you're going to buy or sell, is the Seahawks. And we will spin this wheel this time for Taylor if he's buying the Seahawks at $1.
I'd buy them at $1.
You buy them at $1. So you don't think they're that good of a team? I'd put them at $50.
No.
I'd buy them for $50. I think I would think they're neutral on that aspect. I don't think they're a great team, but I don't think they're a bad team.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that needs to get worked on that team. One, Pete Carroll needs to go, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They need an actual quarterback. Geno Smith is doing good, but it's just a fact that he's not a franchise quarterback. It's just plain and simple.
He's playing great football now, though. I don't want to sleep
on
him.
No, he is. But, you cannot be a mediocre quarterback from the beginning of your career till now and then suddenly become an elite quarterback, So there's no shot. So that just my opinion.
No, okay, I got you. I got the Dolphins. I rolled it while you were talking so we could speed it up at $50. I'm buying them at $50 because I don't think they're great, but I don't think they're a bad team. I think they're on the upcoming. They have the pieces. I think Tua is playing well when he, is not seeing 3 different people at once. So yeah, I'm gonna buy them at the $50. They're not necessarily a $100 team, but they're not a $1 team as well.
I would agree with that.
All right. With that being said, I don't know if you have your weekly superlative. If you don't, I'll give you time and I'll say mine first if you want.
Yeah, go with yours first.
So most likely to hang up the phone because his squad needs him, Kyler Murray. Call of Duty's coming up.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it? Oh my God. Man, I thought I was going to have more time here. Okay. I'll say most likely to succeed. I'm going to go Chris Olave. He looks comfortable. You know, a lot of rookies come out there and they kind of look a little timid, but Chris Olave looks really settled already. I think if they get him a really good quarterback to throw to him, I think he could really shine. I mean, he's already shining with what he has now, but I think you know, you add on to that, and I'm telling you, that kid's gonna explode.
Imagine if they had their first round pick and could pick up a CJ Stroud or Bryce Young.
Too bad they gave it to the Eagles.
Yeah. All right, guys. With that being said, that is the Booth's weekly superlatives. We're going to go into the NFL predictions. But like always, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And make sure you follow us on Spotify podcasts and Apple podcasts. And if you're listening from home through those ventures, thank you very much. We do greatly appreciate you. With that being said, Taylor, the first game is going to be the Browns versus the Ravens. Who you got? We got to write these down for our bet.
Would you like me to go over last week's real quick?
Yeah, we can go over last week's. Who won last week? Who's up?
All right, so you won.
Yeah.
You won last week. So I'm counting ties as 1 point for each of us.
All right.
So, like, if we tie, like, we both pick the winner, we get a point. If we both pick the loser, you still get a point. Actually, no, we don't get a point for losing if we both chose the losing team. With that said, you got 12 right.
Okay.
And I got 8 right.
All right, 12-8.
So you got me on that one.
All right, not looking good for you, man.
No, I'm not far behind. You know, wild week. Ugh.
You could catch up, man. You could catch up.
I could.
Here. All right.
There's a chance.
Browns versus Ravens. Give me that prediction.
I'm going Ravens.
All right.
I'm going Ravens. I hope that when it comes down to the fourth quarter, they're able to do something there.
Lamar, if you want that money, you're gonna have to earn it in the fourth. I'm gonna go Ravens as well. Then we got the Buccaneers versus the Christian McCaffrey Panthers. Christian McCaffrey list Panthers.
I think the Bucs are going to take this. I think, one, the 49ers are going to have to fit CMC in there. And two, I think Tom Brady's out for blood right now.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers over the Panthers as well because Panthers, like we said, are in complete rebuild mode. And Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold are just not it. Then we got so far we're even. We've taken the same team. So we got the Falcons versus the Bengals. Both are 3-3. That we could split here.
I've got the Bengals.
All right. I'll take the Falcons. I'll go ahead and split here. I'll take the split.
I will say the Falcons are a good pick here because they're a sneaky team.
Yeah.
They
Kyle
just
Pitts
don't
is getting
seem
usage
good,
now.
but yeah, they don't seem like they're a really good team, but they're winning games.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Falcons there. Then we have the Cowboys versus the Lions. Dak is back.
I got the Cowboys.
All right, I'm going Cowboys as well. The Lions' defense is just abysmal. I think that their offense is great, but their defense is just not it. I think that one win they got, it's probably all they'll get this year.
Most likely.
And then we got the Giants versus the Jaguars.
Giants.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
I think we're going to be tied for everything.
No, I'm going to go Jags here.
You went with the Jags against the Colts, and I'm surprised you're still at home right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Jags. I think they're playing good football. I'm not 100% sold on the Giants yet. They are 5-1, but I'm not sold on them 100% yet. I think they're
same here,
team,
but I'll never be sold on the Jags.
This Jags are a sneaky team, man. I mean, if you're trying to get into the playoffs and you're the Colts, you know, they could beat you. Sorry, Dad. Speaking of the Colts, we have the Colts versus the Titans next.
Colts.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Colts as well, just because I like to live in this house.
You get one more week.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is back from injury, so I'm gonna go Colts there. We have the Packers versus the Tyler Heineke-led Commanders.
I'm going Packers. I know I've picked the Packers a lot this season, and they've let me down, but I think the Commanders not having Wentz is going to impact them a little bit.
All right.
Although Heineke is good.
He's a solid quarterback. I'm going to go Packers as well. I think it's still Aaron Rodgers, and going against Aaron Rodgers is not a smart thing to do.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah. Then we got the Jets versus the Broncos. Are we riding on the Broncos?
I got the Jets.
All right, I'm going
let's
Jets.
Fly.
Jets, let's fly. Jets Nation, let's fly. All right, get out of here. I'm gonna go with the Jets as well. Just not a big believer in the Broncos right now. Two crappy teams: Texans versus Raiders. Who you got?
Texans.
And that's gonna be my pick. All right, I'll take the split here just because we don't want to keep agreeing. So I'll take the Raiders.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh man, I think Derek Carr and company, hopefully win that because I had to take the split. All right,
Derek Carr and what company?
The cameraman.
Gotcha.
The Seahawks versus the Chargers.
Chargers.
All right, I'm gonna go Chargers as well. I'm not going to take the split there and ruin my chances of this bet. So then we have the Chiefs versus the 49ers.
I got the Chiefs.
Going Chiefs as well. Not a big believer in Jimmy G. This is just a week that we're just going to have. I have to take the split just so that we disagree.
Yeah. This is gonna be decided by like 2 games.
Yeah. Dolphins versus the Steelers.
I got the Dolphins.
All right, I'm going to go Dolphins as well.
Sorry, Kyle.
Yeah. And then the Bailey Zappi-led Patriots, and we'll talk about it later. Maybe a later show. I think Bailey Zappi should take the job over Mac Jones. But with that being said, the Bailey Zappi-led Patriots or the Chicago Bears?
I'm gonna go Patriots.
All right, we literally are going to have those 2 games. I'm going Patriots as well. Bailey Zappi is playing great, and he's already got one of his jerseys in the NFL Hall of Fame. So, first NFL player in history to throw 300 yards in his first ever road game and his first ever home game. So, pretty.
He is impressive. 100%.
Yeah. With that being said, guys, we thank you for watching. If you're watching from home on YouTube, we thank you for listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We are live every Friday at 7 p.m.-ish. And we're trying to be here at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow us on TikTok. Make sure you follow us on Twitter as well. We will be keeping you guys updated, running polls, and just chatting with everybody. And again, if you want us to talk about something, maybe we did not talk about your team this week, make sure you hit us up on YouTube or hit us up on Twitter and say, hey, guys, you need to talk about my team. My team sucks, but I want them to be covered. So we will gladly do that. With that being said, guys, we thank you again, and we hope that you have a wonderful night from the booth. Taylor, bid them farewell.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Peace out and have a good night.
All right. Thank you, guys.